everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Piano TV. I am Allysia, your host, and I have Emilee Mae-Feely of Feely Music with me today. And hi, how are you doing?
Awesome. How are you doing?
Good. We were actually just off camera practicing how to do like a high five on our video cameras. So
ready? One,
show that off. Two,
three, go.
There, did we do it?
Wait, we should get a sound effect. Let's do it one more time. Ready, and go.
There we go.
I heard it. Did you hear it?
Who needs video editing, honestly?
So fun.
So this is a little bit of a different setup than what we usually have because I'm actually because we're having like a live call interview. So if things look a little bit different, that's why. But the reason I wanted to bring Emilee on today is because she is not only a piano teacher, but she hires out piano teachers. So she's kind of like, I guess you're a contractor in a way. Or they're the contractors.
They are, yes, and we're all legal with those terms.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So what I wanted to bring you on here for, I wanted to ask you some questions about choosing a good piano teacher. I recently did a video about this, and there were a lot of questions, and people have just been asking me about finding a good piano teacher for so long, but you've had personal experience with this because you hire people. So I thought you would be a great person to talk to about this.
Yeah, hiring music teachers is really, it's something that I've had to learn to do well. So there's two ways I could talk about it. I don't know which one you'd rather, like me as a music entrepreneur hiring music teachers, or I can address it as well as what a family would be looking for if they were looking for a teacher. I generally have both of these ideas all the time going on, as you know, hiring for my needs and then hiring for my customers' needs. But yeah, so do you have a preferred route that I go, or just in general? What do you think?
Honestly, I think a little bit of both, because from your perspective, maybe this is just because I'm a piano teacher too, but I would be really curious what I don't know what the piano teacher side of it is, but also for families as well. I think that I don't know, can we just talk about it all?
Yeah.
Is that too much?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe
I'll start with the customer, or like our family side. And so it's definitely interesting being on the end of receiving inquiries that are for a large amount of students, because generally a lot of questions that are asked are, will my teacher come on a weekly basis? Will my teacher be flexible to my needs? And if I was going to give one more, you know what's actually surprising? It's not very important to people if it's a male or female instructor, which I was pretty interested to know. Mm-hmm. Age has never really been a concern either. I guess the number one thing to address is, and from the customer perspective, is the teacher going to be flexible? And so this is something that we really own in on with our music school when we hire teachers. But it's something that's very important to a lot of people when they acquire a teacher. And I think that is interesting because in the way that music lessons have changed, it's interesting to see that as a trend over, say, doing RCM exams, and maybe it's in our branding, but it's very interesting to see that most students don't actually have the goal of completing exams anymore. They more learn for the mind ability, what the brain learns, for the practicability of being able to use it later, and for the students to enjoy what they're doing. So I think it's really important to be a flexible music teacher. So I look for that in all my music teachers. So how do you make sure that a music teacher is flexible, or how do you hire a music teacher? So we have 4 official stages that a teacher must go through in order to become a Feely Music staff. So the first is you have to have a resume that has at least a grade 8 minimum of an RCM examination. We do have a couple of exceptions to this from people that are coming to us from other countries. Mm-hmm. And so we have one staff from India. And so he's studying at a university right now in Canada for music. So we really want to make sure that they have a good foundation. Always make sure that your teacher has a really good foundation of knowing how to play. You have to know how to play to then know how to teach. So tip number 1.
Yeah, that's a pretty yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And grade 8, I just want to say, for those of you who aren't super savvy with what the different grades are, grade 8, I would say, is like kind of an early advanced level. So they're pretty competent at that level, but they're not necessarily like playing crazy Beethoven full sonatas and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's the basic requirement. So we require the basic requirement, and then we help through training. We help them achieve specific strategies for each student.
Okay.
So they have the first kind of like resume phase, and then they have a second phase, which is a personal interview through a forum. And so we've created really, really structured questions to see them if they are flexible personalities. So we've done a lot of research on how to create questions in that phase that will help us read a person's flexibility. How do they deal with stressful situations? It's not actually like a musical survey at all. It's just a personal vetting
Okay.
because we've noticed it to be such a trend that people do want flexible teachers. And it's not difficult to be a flexible teacher, but it does require some awareness. And so that's our second phase. Our third phase is a physical, sometimes online meeting. And so that's like I'm going to talk to you music language meeting. So I'm actually going to ask you questions that you couldn't answer if you didn't have grade 8.
Okay.
And figuring out your personality. So all of our teachers are hired. I've already mentioned the fact that they're flexible personalities, but that comes down to a character as well. And so people want a music teacher, in my experience, that are able to relate to someone. They're not driven for their own purposes. And so we really just have a verbal conversation about this. And then the fifth is a YouTube video that they submit into for us, where they play some for us. We have like a standard repertoire that we ask them to play, and then we ask them to film a little bit of a teaching video for us so that we can see them in action. And then beyond this, the way that we make sure that our teachers are well is that clients receive a survey every week, just to make sure that they're receiving what they want from lessons. So it's a very structured way to hire a music teacher, but I think it's important. We don't really have a lot of turnover, and generally, I mean, we hire exactly what people are looking for. So I know that was a long answer.
No, that's great. So how much would you say of a role does personality play when you're hiring music teachers?
Totally. A total role. I think because music is, well, it's not, I don't like to use the word fun, but it's a recreation activity. People want to enjoy it for the most part, even if they want to enjoy it for building their brain. So people want to enjoy it with an activity with someone who's mutually going to help them enjoy. And so they don't want someone that is dissonant or, has a bad personal aroma. Personality is 100% for, I mean, well, because we know that they are musical.
Exactly.
I would say that personality is like a big part of it. I think a personality dictates if you're going to do something well. If you have a good personality, that usually suggests that you like what you're doing. And I think in order to be a good teacher, you have to like what you're doing. So you have to have a good perspective of what you're doing.
So a good music teacher then, for someone who's looking for a music teacher, is someone that would be easy to get along with, right? Because they'd be warm, open, flexible. They wouldn't be like distant. So you're kind of doing away with the whole stereotype of the strict and harsh music teacher.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm happy to say that about our brand. We don't really have strict, harsh teachers. I believe that we do have a lot of goal setting and a lot of student accomplishments, but it's through a whole different mentality. It's through achieve goals that are set for each student and pertain to their interest. And so we definitely reach goals, but we definitely don't do it by breaking knuckles and getting, the old horror stories.
So you believe in structure, but not the severity.
Yes, we definitely believe in structure. And so the way that we structure our teachers, because it's hard to have a balance between structuring and micromanaging, and we never want to micromanage teachers. We don't really want to give them, this is what you assign in lesson 1, this is what you assign in lesson 2. What is structured is the framework. So you assign 3 assignments every week, you assign 1 or 2 creative projects, and you assign a goal with the student. And so the teacher has the flexibility to, within that, really design whatever they want. But it's very obvious that and there's even like technical elements, very obvious that you have to fill something for the technical element area and something for all the other areas in our methodology book, which is our student agenda book. So we definitely have a structure. It's interesting to compare to, I went to India recently, and they have a music school and they teach like 40,000 kids a month. And so the way that it's crazy. But the way that they micromanage their students is they use apps that they've pre-recorded questions into. So the students will be working through different songs in a various curriculum, and the teacher will have all the homework assignments already written in an app. So all they have to do is click next, and then that's how they assign the student the homework. But it's not actually pertinent to anything that the student does in lessons. Teacher could just go, Piano Ventures Book A. Student doesn't actually have problem with getting this passage done, but it's in their homework app, so I'm going to press next. And so they're just trained to press next, so it doesn't actually have any kind of educational foundation for the student. And so from that, we learned, we definitely want to have a structure for what kind of content our teachers are assigning, but we're not going to micromanage them like that because that's not good education.
Right. That's great. That sounds like a really exciting project that you guys are doing.
Yeah. It was interesting to see like this back end to this 40,000 students a month. Is that wild?
That blows my mind. That's insane.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I want to backtrack because this is a question I get asked a lot, and I want to see what your response is. Maybe you're going to be a biased person to ask this, but do people need a piano teacher, or can you get by without one? And specifically adults, because kids 100% need a piano teacher.
What a hard question. And it's one of those hard ones we get often. I would always advise having a teacher, because if I'm going to understand how I learn, I want to learn French, and I downloaded Duolingo, and it was cool for about 2 months, and then it wasn't cool anymore. And I know when I see someone on an ongoing basis and make a commitment to a person, I often more make a commitment to an idea and of something that I want to accomplish, like an idea or a task. And I am one of the most forward thinking, motivated to be an individual person I know. I just do individual tasks all day. I love that stuff. And so if I didn't even survive on Duolingo doing something on my own, I take that as a great learning opportunity. So maybe other people would be driven to practice without a teacher, but I think practicing with a teacher is really important, especially with technicalities of your hand positioning. You can do that so wrong, and you can cause so much carpal tunnel in your arm if you do it wrong. And so because it's a physical sport, which a lot of people don't really consider, you can do it wrong in so many ways, and that actually limits you in the future. So definitely get a teacher. Use online resources as a buffer. I know tons of my students use online resources, and I'm a total advocate for that, but I really do have an advocacy for learning with someone.
I agree with you, and that's pretty much.
That's awesome that you agree. Yeah, it's nice to know that other music teachers are encouraging this. I'm just a believer in it too,
And I like what you're saying about because honestly, it is the personal connection. You bond with your piano teacher, and then if you go through phases where you're not as motivated, it's almost like that bond is what's gonna keep you going with it. Whereas like you said with Duolingo, if it's just you on your own and you don't know if you're doing things right and you don't really have a sense of how you're progressing.
Yeah. I think it's really cool to have musical ensembles too. So maybe, there's lots of different ways that you can study music. You can study music in a drop-in course. You can study music one-on-one. You can study music in an orchestra. You can study in an ensemble, guitar ensemble. There's tons of different ways. Just do it with people, because I think that people are more motivated. And since I'm a brain junkie nerd, I've been doing some research on Alzheimer's lately, and there's a lot of correlations between social interactions in group learning and the likelihood of having less Alzheimer's when you're older. So there's a lot of social connectivity brain benefits. So always an advocate for social activity with people when they're learning.
That's really great to know. And I know a lot of people who follow me are concerned about that. So that's awesome. So I just have time for one more question, and I really appreciate you sitting down chatting with me today. And this is kind of a broad question, so have fun with it. But what piece of advice, if you were to give just one piece of advice to the adult student who's struggling to find a good teacher, what would you suggest?
I would say make a list of your goals and what you are actually wanting from your teacher, because there's so many good teachers out there, and the ones that are out there for the most part want to teach. So I think a teacher always wants to teach if they're putting themselves out there, but a lot of the time students don't know what they want, especially adults. And so I think going into lessons with a specific, I want to achieve this, or I am not looking for something to achieve, but I just want to have this experience, just having some perspective. Or if they're looking for something within a teacher, I really want a female who's going to play duets with me. I really want, I do want a strict teacher. Have an intent for what you actually want, because without that, you have no idea what you want, and nobody else will have an idea what they want.
And that makes the piano teacher's job so much easier as well. I really like when I meet adult students who have a clear sense of what they're doing and what they want. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, this was really, it's just great to chat with you. I really appreciate you hopping on my channel. So if people want to learn more about you, what can they do?
So our website is feelypianoschool.com, or Feely Music in a couple of weeks. And we're in Ontario, and we do have teachers throughout the cities here. We have some in Halifax as well, and Edmonton. So if you are looking for a tutor that comes to your home, we're available. But if you do just generally have questions, we have a YouTube page as well, Feely Piano Music, and a Facebook page, Feely Piano School.
And we'll link all that below so you can check that out. Great. Yep. That sounds awesome. So thank you so much for watching today's video, and I will catch you guys later. Bye, Emilee.
Bye.
Let me think about this. Yeah, that's
no, the other way. The other way.
No, the other way.
Oh, it would be this way. I am right.